Relapse. It's one of the heaviest words in recovery, and for a lot of people, the fear of relapse can feel just as heavy as the relapse itself might. I want to talk about that fear today because fear doesn't protect you necessarily, it actually keeps you stuck. And if you're carrying that fear, it usually means you're still giving alcohol credit for something it never truly gave you. In my own experience, I stopped drinking and started again several times before I actually finally quit for good. But here's the thing, I don't really call those times relapse because honestly I wasn't quitting forever. I was testing the waters, seeing how my life felt without alcohol. It was more experimentation. But once I made the permanent decision that alcohol was no longer going to be a part of my life, something shifted. And since then, I haven't once been tempted to drink again. The thought has crossed my mind though, at social events, for example, but it wasn't like a temptation, it was more like my brain offering a suggestion or a solution to a problem that didn't actually exist. And I was able to step into the third person perspective and ask, why am I thinking a drink would help me right now? And there's one moment in my life that stands out. I was at a wedding and everyone was dancing and having fun and I just really didn't feel like joining in. Like my mind offered me the thought, well, maybe if I drank, I'd loosen up and I'd dance. That just kind of popped into my head. But instead of grabbing onto that thought, I stepped back and listened carefully. And the truth was pretty simple. I didn't want to dance because the music was awful, but at least to me. That was the real reason. And I know this for sure because I've been to festivals, I've been to parties sober, and I've danced until my legs were aching because the music was great, because the music moved me. So that little thought of maybe I should drink got replaced with, I'm just not into this music and I'm not going to force myself to enjoy being here. Maybe I should drink and maybe the music is bad are two very different insights. One keeps alcohol on a pedestal as if it's the solution, and the other puts the truth back in my hands. The truth being, alcohol isn't the problem here, the music is. Now here's where the fear of relapse comes in. If you're afraid of drinking again, what you're really admitting is, sometimes without realising it, is that alcohol still has a hold on you. That somewhere inside you, you still believe it can give you something that you want. Now that's not a bad thing to realise, in fact it's very powerful, because once you see that clearly, you can start asking the right question. Not what if I drink again, but why might I drink again? That's the question that changes everything. So here's the golden question I want you to take away from this video and ask yourself often, what do I think alcohol will give me in this moment? Because every relapse starts there with a belief. If I drink, I'll relax. If I drink, I'll have more fun. If I drink, I'll feel confident. If I drink, I won't feel so lonely. But the thing is, alcohol never actually gave you any of those things. Not really. It didn't relax you, it just numbed you temporarily. It didn't give you confidence, it just lowered your inhibitions, often in ways that you might later have regretted. It didn't give you real connection, it just blurred the edges of your loneliness for a while. And once you start to see this, that fear loop begins to break, because you're no longer afraid of alcohol sneaking back into your life. You know exactly what it's trying to promise you, and you know that it can't deliver on that. So at that point, you can ask a second, more powerful question: how can I give myself what I actually want without alcohol? If you want relaxation, what else genuinely relaxes you? If you want fun, what activities light you up and make you feel good? If you want connection, who are the people you can be real with when you're sober? This is where your version of freedom lives. Not in fear, not in white knuckling your way through urges, but in just dismantling the illusion. So if you're afraid of relapse, don't see that fear as a weakness, see it as a signal. It's pointing you towards the beliefs that you still carry about alcohol. Face those beliefs, question them, and then deconstruct them. Because when you do, you'll reach a place where alcohol is no longer something that you fight against. It's something you just simply don't want anymore. And that is when relapse stops being a fear and just starts being irrelevant. So if you want to learn more about changing the way you think, changing the way you live, keep on watching in the third person. I'll see you next week.